everybody. Well, we just got back yesterday from Colonial Williamsburg, and I have shared a lot of videos of Colonial Williamsburg with you before, and I may do that footage next week or something, but I don't want to bore you stiff with too much, beautiful as it is, Colonial Williamsburg. Let me show you the thing I bought for myself while I was there. This is a book I picked up in Colonial Williamsburg at the gift shop because I would really like to get into some natural dyeing with plants. So now I'm back home, and this is the day before Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving week in the U.S., and it's kind of a quiet, rainy, gray, fallish day. I love this kind of weather. This just makes my heart kind of glow. To me, when the leaves fall and other people think that everything looks dead outside, to me it looks like nature is ready to take a nice nap. That's why it feels cozy to me. I don't think of things as dying. I think of them as kind of hibernating, sleeping, resting after a summer of hard work of producing. And I love that idea of nature resting and snuggling down into its bed. Okay, so I'm sitting in my studio. One thing I need to do is, this is a tear. I've had this for a long time. This is one of those things that you can carry a hot dish to a cover dish supper of some type or to a Thanksgiving dinner. And I washed it, which is lovely, but it had two little strings that threaded one through this side and one through this side, and you could tie it and kind of cinch it up. And when I washed it, I think I usually tie them off so they don't disappear. I have one that I found in the laundry, but the other one, I don't know where it is. I'm going to search my washing machine, but I'm afraid it might have gone down the tubes. So anyway, I need to find a little teeny safety pin to put on the end of it so I can thread that. But I'm also looking at this. I've had these for months and months and never unwrapped, and I got these at my favorite store, Small Batch. It's my favorite store in New Bern. Their stuff is pretty expensive, but when they put stuff on sale, this was half off. So this is 4 towels. It has another one of those fun little, I love these little clips. They're just like stitch markers. I don't know if I can make it work. When you knit. Isn't that fun? So I may use that to thread my little thingy back through my other thingy. But I wanted to look at these little towels. When I bought them, I didn't really need more dish towels. But I wondered if they would be big enough that I could sew them together and make a little curtain. I really love the tie too. I love everything they sell. So yeah, there's a little tie. That might be handy. So let's see how big. These don't look too big. I'm just wondering if I can make them into little cafe curtains, kind of little half curtains. But I did get this book that I just showed you. And I have so much fiber sitting around, and I do want to, maybe in December, certainly in January, get into dyeing some of this. A lot of it is white, and I would like to get some natural dyes. I have probably a source for getting walnuts. That makes a nice brown. And I've got turmeric. That'll make a nice yellow. I'd like to get I'd love to grow madder so I could have madder root for red. So we're gonna, and I do have avocados, avocado pits and avocado shells, or whatever you want to call it, the skin. And I've got some onion skins too. But I need to get a mordant. I need to just break down and go ahead and realize I need to order some alum for a mordant. But I'm going to share with you some of what this book says. The man who, Max Hamrick, who wrote this book, let me see, he started working in Colonial Williamsburg's foundations spinning, weaving, and dyeing shop, a shop I've been in many times, and he started in 1988. So he is quite a bit older now. This is what he looks like, Mr. Hamrick. And and they do their dyeing like that, out in a pot outside. And I don't intend to do all of that. I'm not trying to be authentically colonial or anything like that. But I do want to listen to what he says about doing it naturally at home instead of getting acid dyes and chemicals and stuff. I'd rather do it in a more natural way. It's just something that pleases me. I'm not saying that anything is wrong to do any other way. But he spends a lot of time talking about the history of dyeing textiles in the colonies and how it became a bigger and bigger industry. And he has lots of excerpts in the book from different dyers who were advertising their skills for homeowners. Bring your fabric to me and I'll dye it for you, this beautiful color or that beautiful color. Isn't that fascinating? That's kind of a particular industry that we don't have anymore. Nobody offers to dye your clothes for you. But the part of the book, just wonderful. It's just full of photographs like this. Can you see that? I'm kind of behind. There you go. But the part of the book that I'm most interested in are the various dyes. He has a page on different mordants and dye additives and what they do. And I want to pay special attention to that. And then he has some comments on dyes and recipes. And then he has the different plant materials that you use to get different colors. And I may not be able to get all of these, of course, but I'd like to get a few. So let me see. Okay, let me look at the table of contents and I'll tell you the ones I'm hoping to be able to get. Turmeric for sure. Maybe I'll order some indigo, madder, and walnuts. I know I won't be able to get cochineal. I can't imagine I'll get that. These are the other ones he mentions. Annatto seeds, that's a plant, and it gives you a buttery yellow. Brazil wood, which will give you a red color. The cochineal, which gives you red, pink, and a scarlet. Fustic, which will give you a yellow. Let me remember what fustic is. Page 55. Old fustic is a yellow dye derived from the heartwood of Dyer's mulberry, a large tropical American tree. So the mulberry tree. But it has to come from the heartwood. Young fustic is derived from the wood of the smoke tree, a southern European and Asian shrub of the cashew family. Anyway, so a tree. And then he also talks about turmeric, which I can easily get, indigo, which I can order, logwood, which gives you purple and black, that would be fun, madder, which gives you kind of orange and red, and walnut, which gives you brown. So we'll see what I can get my hands on, but that would be a wonderful project for this winter. I imagine that December is going to be too busy for that. Okay, I think the thing I might share with you in this video is I'm finishing up a second slipper for a new pair of slippers for myself, felted slippers like I did last year. And I did a lot of videos, and last year I was really feeling my way when it came to making felted slippers. And I was trying different yarns, and I was trying to spin my own homespun and experiment. I was experimenting and researching. Now I know what I want. I know exactly what I want. And I thought I would do a very short segment on how to get kind of a perfect felted slipper, if you like what I like, which is a solid fabric in a particular, I love this particular color, and how to get the size just right. And I think I can do it pretty quickly. So I'm going to try to put that on here today. Okie dokie. I'm using up the odds and ends of my yarn. The yarn that I'm using used to be called Buttercream Luxcraft. Notice it says Roving. That's really the most important thing. This is not applied yarn. And now it is sold as K&C Roving. Both of these are sold by Joann's Fabrics in the US. And so if you're in the US, you should be able to easily get this, even if you can't go to a Joann store. If you order on their website, right now, this yarn, they make this now. They don't make the buttercream anymore. They just changed the label, but the yarn is exactly the same. If you order this right now, it's on sale. And I think all of their shipping is like $1.99 for anything. So it's a really good deal. I've got quite a few different colors. My favorite color is this kind of darker blue. I've also got a lighter blue. The first slipper I made of this pair has a little bit of brick red on the heel, a lot of that blue, and a little bit of the light blue on the toe. And so now I'm casting on for the second slipper. No matter what size you make, you cast on 36 stitches. I like to use circular needles, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And so cast on 36, and then you're going to do 27 rows of stockinette stitch, which is an alternating knit and purl, so that you get all the knits on the outside and all the purls on the inside. And so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm about 4 rows in. I'll bring you back after that. What you're doing as the cast on section is the heel section, okay? And after you've finished it, you take the 2 ends, put it together like this, and this is your cast on, and now of course it's 2 sides. So there it is. And everybody pretty much has the same height of heel. That's why that doesn't change depending on the size of your slipper. All right, so that's the first part. Okay, so here are my 27 rows, 26 rows. I am now about to begin the 27th row, and it is a knit row because all of the odd numbers are knit rows. And it's very easy to count these rows because the stitches are so nice and big, and because the yarn is not plied, it's just very, very simple to count. As you can see, each stitch is just a single big thick roving. Okay, so I'm going to knit across this row, and when I get to the end of it, I'm going to join it into the round like this. Okay, and I'm going to add 2 stitches to give a little bit more of an opening here at the top, and then I'll keep on going in the round until I get to the toe. And now you can see how my cast on is the back of the heel, just like it is here. And here's the opening, and this is the join I'm just about to do right there. Okay, now I'm coming to the end of this 27th row, and I'm going to do my increase not on this final stitch before the join, but on the next to last one. So I'm going to knit in the front, knit in the back, and so I've added 1 stitch. Then I'm going to knit this stitch. Now, I'm going to pull this out. Pull this in. I'm going to get a good chunk of stitches on there, about that many. Hold this active yarn. Now this one's nice and loose and limber. Now I want to keep this work that I've just finished very close to this new work as I do this next stitch. And I want that stitch to be nice and snug as much as I can. And then I'm going to add another stitch by doing on the inside, on the front, and do another knit on the back. There. And now I've joined my 2, and I'll keep on knitting in the round. And after you've joined it, for a size 9, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to knit 21 rows. If you need a size 8, do 19 rows. If you need a size 7, do 17 rows. So just 2 extra rows at this point before you begin the toe reduction. Adjust the size for you. Now, as I do this in the round, I'll show you in just a minute how I organize my stitches on these circular needles. Okie dokie. Now, I've just barely done that join there. It's very tenuous. What I want to do is divide my work in half. You see, I've got both of my, this is what the spot where my current work is. And so I'm going to divide it in half and go down here, about half, and pull that needle out, pull the cable out. Okay, and this is how I want to keep my work. I think this puts the least amount of stress on this join right here until I get it nice and tight. Speaking of tight, okay. And so what I'll do is I'll knit across here. Your the needle that you're taking your stitches off of, obviously you have to have them on the needle. This one can be, you need to keep it fairly loose, but always allow for some loop back here so you don't lose this halfway point. Okay, so I'm going to knit over here, and then I'm just going to flip my work over and swap my arrangement. Okay, so I'm almost to the end of this row. Well, can't even save the row. I guess you do have to you have to count your rows. See, I'm going to pull this cable in to put the upcoming stitches on it. It doesn't hurt these cables for you to be firm with them. And then pull this one out. And now you can see that this one over here, where the join is nicely in the center of that side. And you're going to keep on going like this, round and round and round. And of course, this is where double pointeds are very useful. It doesn't matter. You can have a long cable or a fairly short cable. These are 10.5. Oops, I did that wrong. These are 10.5 needles, and so you can use any length that you want as long as you have enough cable. So I'm going to keep on going. After a little while, I'll sew this together. I should have left a longer tail, but I didn't have enough, didn't reserve enough yarn when I did my cast on, but a nice long tail will allow you just to stitch that up so simply with a tapestry needle. Okay, so I'll come back to you when I'm ready for the toe reduction. Okay, 21 rows, or rounds. You could think of it as a round. And the reason I've stopped at this spot is because I know that I started going in the round at the join. And so I always pick a spot about here to count up my number of rows. Now at this point, I want to start the reduction of the toe. And what I want to do is reduce 5 stitches in each round. And since I started with 36 stitches way down here, and I added 2, that gives me 38. And so that's almost 40. And so about every 7 stitches, I'm going to do a knit 2 together, and then I'm going to knit 7, and then another. And of course, every time I go around, I'm going to have fewer and fewer. So we'll start here, knit 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I've only got 1 left, but I'm supposed to do a knit 2 together. Sorry, that's Adam in the background talking to the dogs. So I kind of have to get a couple of those together. You see how malleable those little cables are. I'm standing up, leaning forward, knitting underneath the camera. So there's my next two together, and then I'll do 7 more, and I'll keep on going, and I'll watch carefully so that when I get to one where I've done a reduction in the past, where I've done 2 together, and I had one here, there it is, okay. You can see it because you have, normally you just have one little knit piece of yarn there on that side of the stitch, but here I've got 2. So next time I come around, I'll do these 2 together, okay? And then it'll start making a line of reductions, and it'll be easy to see. All right, so I'll bring you back when I'm way down to the end and I've reduced a lot. It goes rather quickly, and we'll see what it looks like. I've done enough reductions now so that I only have 4 stitches on the front of the cable and 4 stitches on the back of the cable. And so now it's a very simple matter of knitting 2 together so that I only have 2 stitches on each one. And at that point, I go ahead and cut a nice, not too long of a tail, and thread a tapestry needle onto the tail and stitch up those last 4 together, pull them tight. So that's about how much reduction you end up with. I never seem to get it exactly right with the counting and but you see that fun little line of feathering in the reduction. And then I'll go back and stitch up the back of the heel as well. And then I'm going to put these into the washing machine on a regular load with a pair of blue jeans and 3 tennis balls and a little bit of laundry detergent, and we will shrink them down, and I'll come back and show you what we get. Nice and tight. Then you just pass this through. I usually try to stick it in a spot where it'll kind of pull it a little flatter so it doesn't stick out like such a little point. And then in here, I'll do a small knot. And then I'll pass it through some of the purl stitches on the underside. Snip off that tail. And I'm done with that end. All right, so I'll stitch this up and then we'll go wash them. Okay, so these 2, before I wash them, are about 12 inches long. From here, you can count the blocks down. They're just a hair past 12 inches. So they did turn out very similar. That's good. I deliberately made them different colors, not just to use up some bits of old yarn, but because I kind of like it for myself, not for somebody else. You'll all be relieved to know that I did find the other string that I can thread through the casing on my little hot dish carrier. I've had this thing for probably 30 years at least. I don't even know where was it a wedding gift? maybe. It's very likely it was a wedding gift, which means I've had it for over 30 years. Wouldn't that be a fun thing to make? It's a little bit quilted. I tied these two so they would behave now. All right. Now, speaking of washing machines, we'd better go see how our slippers are doing. What do you think? It is late afternoon now, and I've washed my slippers twice. They're still damp. My washer has a good spin cycle on it, so they are not sopping wet. And I'm going to put them on my feet and see if they are what they should be, which is a perfect size 9. Let me try it out. They're absolutely perfect. I'll put a little footage up here in front of my face of my feet so you can see it. But they turned out just right. I'm very, very pleased. They're easy to get on. Now, I really like a felted look where you can really almost not see the stitching. In the lighter colors, you can see it a little bit. But as time goes by and I wash these more and more, you'll see the stitching less and less. They're just the same size. Both of them have little off-colored toes. I'm so happy to have a pair of these again. I'm really glad. Here is another pair that are exactly the same number of stitches and everything. So also a size 9. Let's see how they compare up. Yes. See, there you can get consistency in felting if you have consistency in your pattern and in how much you wash it. Don't dry them. I have it on a cold water cycle, or cool. But these are for a lady at the farmer's market, and I had only washed them once, and they were still a bit too big. I bet they were a size 10. Now they'll be a perfect 9, which is, I think, what she wanted. If she wants them smaller, you can just wash them some more, so you can get them to shrink up better. They're pretty flexible. All right, so if you want a pair of felted slippers, a really good pair, order some of that Roving from Joann's. They're not sponsoring this. It's just, if you can find it somewhere else, that's fine too. But that's the best, it's what I've found that I like. And give it a try. It's a simple pattern, and I'll put it in the description below. Thanks, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.